Hey everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So we are getting some more work done on the 1970 GMC. And I'm not even sure what we're going to do yet, but we're going to button up a bunch of things that need to be done to make it more roadworthy. So let's go ahead and get into it. So one of the things I did yesterday is I went in and I put a vacuum gauge on here and you know, checked the idle mixture screws. And even though this carburetor is way too big for this motor, because it's a 750 double pumper, this is just a standard stock 350 out of a 98. I got it dialed in. I got it up to 20 inches of mercury. So that was, each idle screw is only like half a turn out. So not too bad, you know, but it's running better now. But I think I might have fouled a couple spark plugs. So we're gonna pull those out, check them and clean them up just to be sure. The first one I pulled out, you can definitely see it's a little bit dark. Get the focus, but you see the where the strap is burning, looks pretty good. So I'm just going to kind of clean it off, and you see the line is right at the edge, right on the corner there. So pretty good on number one. So number three isn't quite as good. Can't quite see the where the strap is discolored or anything. So definitely found a couple of these, maybe a little bit. So I've been kind of playing around with different things around the shop today. One of the things I did is, I know it's not a big deal, but I rolled the window up in the S10 by putting power to it, because there's no, like a lot of the wiring is not in it right now, like the main battery power. And if I can figure out whether, there it is. So I just hooked the battery, I jumped back to the main pink wire right there, the orange wire, and then ground. And I was able to roll the window up. The other thing I did is I checked the spark plugs, make sure none of those were fouled on the GMC, because it's definitely been running really rich. But I think I got that dialed in now, because I adjusted the, put a vacuum gauge on it, adjusted the idle mixture screws. I know the carburetor is still too big for the truck, or for the motor. But the next thing I got to do, because I took it for a drive today, and it's like shifting like 1, 2, and then as it gets up to about 30, it goes into 3. I thought 3 was actually going into 2. So we're going to adjust the vacuum modulator on the transmission next. All right, so for everybody wondering, what's a vacuum modulator? Well, it's this right here, and this is typical on a turbo 350. So the way you adjust it, you pull the vacuum line off right here, and I believe it's an Allen wrench, pretty small one. See if I can get the right size the first time. I really doubt it, but we're going to try. Nope, not big enough, or not small enough. Try the next size down. Let's get this a little bit more out of the way so it's easier to see. Nope. I think this is the first time I've actually done this. Oh, I see why it ain't working. It's a flathead. I'll be right back. So if you look real close up in there, you can see there's a little flathead area in there. At least I think that's what it is, or it's dirty. Okay, yep, it's definitely flathead. All right, so to adjust the shift points up, so you want it to run out a little bit higher in the RPM before it shifts. This is all speed based basically, so you want to try to increase the speed of where it's shifting. You want to turn it clockwise. As soon as I get the stupid screwdriver in there. And it says, I'm going to go 1. Is that 1 or 2? I think that was 2. So I hope you can, it's kind of hard to see up in there, but see where I put the screwdriver up in here and turn it clockwise 3 or 2 turns. So see if that makes a difference in the shift now. Don't forget to rehook up your vacuum line, otherwise it still ain't gonna work. And this goes to manifold vacuum. All right, let's go test drive it. All right, so we're just gonna do normal drive. I'm not gonna like gun it or nothing. So let's watch the speed. 1, there's 2, and 3. Still kind of fast. I think we should go a little bit more. And I'll check the speeds when we get back, because I wasn't watching the speedo. But you guys were. Right now, so the kick down cable disconnected, because I just want to make sure. It feels like the radiator, the thermostat opened up. Just want to make sure that's not interfering with the upshift adjustments we'll still have to adjust that for the wide open throttle runs. So I checked the video. It looks like it's shifting from 1 to 2 at 15 miles per hour and 2 to 3 at 30. So let's see if that changed with 2 more rotations of the screw. Okay, we're gonna try this again, see what we get. Yeah, I was watching that time. This time it was still 15 and 30. So it doesn't seem to be adjusting much. Maybe I need to go further. So I just hooked a TV cable up because I noticed it was going to 40 if I gunned it, so. Slow again. About 17. I missed this. Okay, I think the TV cable's actually, or not the TV cable, the kickdown cable's interfering now. So when I'm actually speeding up, it shifts around like 20 and 40 now, which is kind of cool. I don't mind that at all. And it's 15 and like 17 and like 33 or something like that, as far as what I saw from the video. So with 411 gears and only 3 speeds, probably ain't bad, because it's not, this thing isn't a high revving engine either. I got a low glucose alarm right here from my sensor, so we lost sound, but this is where we're going to keep the setting for now. One of the other things I need to figure out for sure is the temp sensor. Well, the sensor works. I tested it, and it changes its resistance as the temperature goes up. The resistance goes down. I have to make sure that's what it's supposed to do, but we're not getting any readings on the gauge, so I don't know if it's wiring or if it's the gauge itself. Because I can put the wire on ground and it jumps. So it might be something in the gauge itself that ain't working. The gas gauge is bouncing now. It didn't do that before. But I think it's, I need to reset the needle on it because it was apart at one point, and when I was trying to figure out the short in it, which ended up being the back panel. If you watch my old videos, I talk about that. Yeah, I think I need to take it apart and actually pull the needle off and turn it this direction to come up 0. I think where it's sitting right now is supposed to be empty. And if I move the needle that way, it should line up. I just gotta mark exactly where it's at right now, so when I take it apart again, it makes sense. But I don't feel like taking the dash apart right now because that's, disconnecting the speedo, the oil pressure, and unplugging everything. So I'm not ready to do that yet. And disconnecting, I got to pull the wiper motor, wiper off everything. Where's that's working now? But anyways, squirrel. But yeah, so that's something else I got to do. But it doesn't seem to be overheating. Thermostat's definitely opening because I can feel the heat on the upper hose. So, but I don't have a fan shroud, so I have no idea what the temperature's doing. I want to know what the temperature's doing. What are we working on today? This is a little mix-up video here, or mash-up video, or whatever you want to call it. I think we need to make this seat stay in place while I'm driving. So what we're gonna do, because this is this is out of the actual K10 right there, so out of the square body. So we're gonna make a frame that bolts down to the original location of the seat, because I don't know what seat I'm gonna put in here yet. This is still gonna go back in the K10 eventually, but that one doesn't have an engine yet. This one runs, I need someplace to sit. So this is gonna be it for now. So I'm gonna build a frame that will go on here, and yeah. So that way we can adapt a square body seat to it, or take the frame out and put a regular 1967 to 72 seat in it, if I find one of those. So it all depends on what I find. But for now, we're just gonna make a frame, and I also wanna raise it up a little bit because it seems a little low to me when I'm driving. So I'm gonna raise it up a little bit, at least an inch, maybe 2. So that's what we're gonna do. The part that's always fun, pulling this big seat out here by myself. I hear wasps. Oh, they stopped. I'm getting tired of those things. But anyways, let's get this thing out of here. Last time I actually had my wife help me put it in because she wanted to go for a drive. This thing needs more cleaning. Oh. This thing over here where I can access the bottom side of it. So once we get the framework done for the truck side of it, then we can just pull it out and adapt it to this. I think that'll work. All right, let's get a couple measurements here. Well, that seat that I had in here sure is still dirty underneath there, isn't it? But anyways, we got still a little bit of it. But anyways, yeah, I'm getting hit by the squirrel again. So I'm gonna make the frame gonna go on the inside of these holes. So that way, there's a nice riser there. We're going to kind of go up and around stuff here, aren't we? No, we'll figure it out though. But anyways, so I want to go on the inside of the frame, or the inside. What am I trying to say here? So I want to go on the inside of these holes and then put tabs out so that way they're, you know, we can get to them to remove it and everything. And then we'll add tabs to that frame to attach the other seat to that frame. Hope that makes sense. To get an idea of length. Okay, so that's about where we need it. And that puts us at 52.5 is what we want. So I'll just go 53, make a nice round number. So as always, we recycle around here. So we're gonna use the my cab lifting apparatus here, and we're gonna take the metal off of it. So we only need 53 inches for this 1-inch bar. So it's about right about there. So we'll just have all that extra left over for the rest of it. All right, so these are the first pieces. I haven't cut it off that end yet, but trying to figure out how I'm going to go up over this hump, because I kind of want this to be like somewhere in that area there. So I suppose I could just go off of that. That makes the tabs way too long in my opinion. So I'll figure a way of going either up and over to bring that in where I want it. Either way, I gotta narrow this. That's too long. It needs to be like 13 because I want to go on the inside of it, so I have access to the back of the back and the front of the tabs to be able to disconnect it if I want to or pull it out. So, do I make tabs to raise it up that high? Do I want it that high? I don't know. I have to test fit to see what I think of that height, because that's what, 2 inches, a little bit more. That's almost 3 inches taller. So like 2 3/4. That might be all right. I don't know, we'll have to see. Just want to see how wide the seat is. See, the funky thing about these seats is these tabs on the C10, or the K10, the square body, these tabs are bent forward and they go to the front of the mount, and I'll show you that here in a second. And this goes to the back. See how it's angled up? So it actually comes out and angles up. You see the mounting hole right here is at an angle, you know, to the front of the seat, as is this back one. That's the mounting holes for that seat. Whereas in these 67 to 72 C10s, they're all flat. So there's a bit of a difference, but that's why we're doing the frame. But as far as the width goes, it's like 18 inches. So we're going to be going quite a ways past that when it comes time to actually mount them up. So yeah, we gotta get the frame to the truck done first, I think. I need to see if that's going to be too much of a height. So we're going to fit this back in there. Going to raise it up 3 inches and see if that feels right. All right, so this is raised up about half the distance that I was thinking about going. This is about 1.5 inches. And I think I can still go a little bit higher. So I think the 3 inch is going to be a good point to raise this up. Yeah, I think it'll work. All right, so I think for the feet, we're going to do this. I got this 2x2 angle iron. And figure out exactly how long. Do I want to use both bolts on them? Probably, might as well. So let's do 2 pieces at 5 inches and 2 pieces at, say, well, 3.5. So 5 and 3.5. So 2, 5, 2, 3.5. All right, so I got these brackets done over here. They're not attached to the frame or anything yet, but that's looking pretty good. I just gotta drill the holes in these ones and do the same thing over there. Get it nice and centered, and then I can start welding those brackets to that. And I'll probably gusset it too underneath here just to be sure to give it that extra strength. But yeah, that's the start for the frame. I also put like an 1/8 inch spacer underneath there just to get a little gap off the floor. All right, so we got the brackets all made. I got it all centered now. I'm just gonna go in there and weld it all together. All right, so this is where we're at now. Let me get the frame underneath there, and so you can see the chair or the bench seat up on here. Look down here, this is what I'm making right now. This is a piece that's going to attach the actual, God dude, shut up. The actual, the seat to the bracket. And I'll show you how I made it. It's not welded to it's not welded to the frame yet. That's how it's going to be attached to the front. Once I get that worked out, then I'll worry about the back. I'll pull everything out and do the back. The duck is being really loud. But anyways, that's what it looks like right there. I'm gonna pull it off right now, and we gotta do some, I'm gonna weld the nut on there. That way you can just bolt it into it. But that's what we're looking right now. That's what's gonna be welded on. So this is what that piece looks like. It's a piece of 1x2. I cut a 45-degree angle on 2 different angles, and cut this little lip off up here. Clearance it for the little bracket that's underneath there, which I'll show you later. But that's what we gotta make another one of. Not a big deal, it's pretty simple, just 2 45-degree cuts. I already got one cut, so just gotta cut the rest of it. All right, so we got those pieces welded on now. So now we got a place to mount the front part of the seat. So next thing we're gonna do is bolt it on there and figure out the back mount for the seat. So we gotta figure out what we're gonna do back there. And Dick is being annoying. All right, so there it is, our seat bracket to put a square body seat into a 6772. So now he's gotta let it cool, put some paint on it, throw it in. Oh, there she is in the frame, or the frame is in the truck now. And don't know where, I guess I ran out of paint. I went to get some. I got 2 cans that are bad over there. But the only thing else I have is some gloss black, but I don't want to use that. So I'm just gonna stick it in there for now. It's gonna come back out eventually anyways, because I still gotta go in there and finish some welds on the floor and do that. Still have another patch panel on the kick panel over there. But I want to get this thing in here and see how it feels. So far it's looking pretty good. Line up back here pretty good. Line up under there pretty good. So get the bolts in. Well, let's see how she feels. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Might be a little high, but no, it's actually comfortable. It works for me. And if I need to, I can slide her up, slide her back, slide her up. You could actually go, the seat goes back a lot further, but you know, it's a 1970 GMC with a very small cab. So, but I think my wife could drive it. She's short, she's like 5'2". But heck, that's comfortable for me. Move that a clutch. So yeah, I can live with that. I gotta get something to cover it to make it look a little more fitting. Like I said, this isn't the seat I'm keeping in here, and it is dirty still. And even though I vacuumed it and washed it a few times, It needs more, but it's sat in the field for 20 years. So what do you expect in that truck? So, but yeah, looking pretty good. I like it. And it doesn't fall out of the truck now. Right on. All right, so what's our little job for today? That's going to be Schrader valve, or not Schrader valves, what are they called? Grease fittings and, oh, why can't I think this morning? And these thingies. Cotter pins, jeez, I can't think of nothing today. So we're going to put those on. So as you can see up in here, all the new steering components don't have grease fittings or cotter pins yet. So that's what we're going to put in. Alright, so we got all the cotter pins and grease fittings in now. So if you ever wonder why there's a difference between inner and outer tie rod, well right there, see the grease fitting? It faces towards the inside of the truck rather than the back of the truck, so you can actually get a grease gun on there. So everything's in now. The only thing left I got to put in are the cotter pins for the ball joints. Today I've just been doing a little buttoning up. Like you see the vacuum lines? Well, they're not vacuum lines, they're actually for the window washer. So I put those back in, put this down permanently, well, semi-permanently, because everything's semi-permanent because I'll just have it on my screws, which is good. But I've been trying to adjust the hood. I think this fender needs to go forward a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty good. It closes, it opens, and that's what really matters. So the gaps are a little bit off, but this fender, remember, was hit, and you can see it's definitely, the gaps are a little better on this side, but still a little bit off. But doesn't really matter. We're not doing the body work yet. But as you see, we got the windshield wiper washers. Nozzles in there now. And the hoses are run. They're not hooked up on the inside, but they are hooked up underneath the under the hood. So that's what we've been doing today. The other things I did a couple of days ago is I put the mirror back on. Really don't like this mirror, so I'll probably end up changing it to. We're gonna have a big old like you know, the big square or rectangular mirrors that go here for like campers and whatnot. That's the other thing I'm thinking about doing. I want to take us on a power tour at some point in time. So I'm thinking, because my biggest fear is theft on those things and leaving my truck out in the parking lot or something, you know. But I'm thinking about getting a camper. Since this is a 2500, it's designed to do that. It is a camper special. Then yeah, I think that's the route I'm going to go, is look for a camper to put on this thing to take on power tour. So that way I can just sleep right in it. And that way I'm my own security system at that point. And I'll make it so that, you know, I can crawl through the front. You know, I'd love to get one of those actual motorhome styles. Like, have you ever watched Garth Graveyard Cars? He picked one up. And I think Emily over at, what's it called? Something Sparks, I can't think of what it's called. But anyways, they have those camper style and this body style, which is awesome. And you know, Garth is building his, which is cool. But yeah, I'd love to make a camper out of this, or get a camper shell for it that I can take on and off and use that for power tour to sleep in. I just remembered, it's Emily and Aaron Reeves from Flying Sparks Garage. Couldn't remember the flying part. I had too many sparks in my YouTube viewing with heavy D sparks and flying sparks, so I couldn't remember what it was exactly. But they got a cool camper in this body style, which is awesome. So sorry about the rain right now. It's a little loud in here, but it's not too bad. So I think for now, I'm gonna do, until I figure out exactly what I'm gonna be doing for heating and cooling this thing, I'm just gonna make a cover plate for this right now. And just make it temporarily, but make it sealed so that way there's no heat from the engine coming in. And so yeah, it should be just a simple plate to cover the whole thing, and just use the original holes that are there as well. So that way it's just covered up. And I'll probably, I don't know, I'll do what I'll do for the blower motor hole over there. But I'll figure something out, something that I can, because it doesn't have any mounting holes on that. So I'll probably do some kind of a clamp style thing where, you know, I have a bolt and a screw that clamps it together. Kind of like what the kits come with when you buy like a vintage air kit or whatever. But for now, I'm just gonna make a plate that covers that hole right there so the heat stops coming in from the engine bay. Oh, there we have it. One block off plate held in with painter's tape. It's perfect, right? Should sold up underneath all the heat underneath here. Yeah, right. Well, you know, most people know why I'm doing this, so I can mark the holes from the inside, so I know where to drill, so we can bolt this thing in. All right, there you have it. Plates in. All the holes that don't have bolts in them. Actually, there's this one right here will get another 1/4 inch bolt, like these two. But the rest of them are going to be like machine screws. But first, I'm going to put some sealer around it. I got a bunch of foam sealer from a estate sale one time, and as soon as I figure out where I put it, we're gonna put some of that on there. I don't know where I put it. It's around here someplace. Might be over here. And there you have it. One heater block off plate. Fully sealed. So, maybe throw a little paint on there. Why not? And there you have it. One black block off plate. And all I had was gloss black, but so it's gonna stay shiny. So the next thing we gotta make is a cover plate for the original blower motor hole. And again, I wanna make it temporary, so I don't wanna drill any holes to mount the plate. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do for it. All right, so this is what I came up with. Just a little bracket that goes up inside the fan hole. And then I just clamp it down. So let's get her installed. Yeah, so it's just real simple. We just got to slide it in there. So it'll go up one side and down the other. And I don't know why I can't get the one side to go on. I test fit this thing earlier. Just go right in there, and it's just being a pain in the butt. Here's the best way here. Alright. Oh, this is starting to piss me off. Alright, bent the tabs out a little bit. Let's see if that makes a difference. Got one started in there. Right there should work. There we go. It got really muggy today because it rained earlier, and now it's a little muggy. I think that'll hold it. Like it's not even there. Alright, so we got the firewall blocked off now. The blower motor and heater. So, should be good to go on that. At least until I figure out what I'm going to do for climate control in this thing. Next thing we're going to tackle is the temp gauge. Because right now, we're not getting any readings. And I can ground the wire out and it jumps, but it's not really doing what it normally would do when you ground it out. It's kind of weird. But I also noticed this. So this has a temp gauge, as you can see. It also has a temp light. And here's the weird thing. See, right here's a bulb. If I put the bulb in for the temp light, it turns on. The key's off, as you see. So now if I turn the key on, that light goes out. And we still don't have temperature readings. It jumps all over the place, but it's not actually reading anything. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm going to take some readings from the wires, from the gauge out to the gauge here, from the gauge to the sensor, and see what happens. That thing's glaring so bad you can't even tell what I'm looking at. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do, play around with that. What I think might have happened is when I wired the painless kit in there, maybe I mistake the wires because there's a temp light and a temp sensor. So I don't know. Let me see if I can show you. So they have two different pin outs for with gauges, without gauges. So I gotta check those and make sure I got the green wire to the right pin. So it needs to be on pin 6 and not pin 5. So we'll see. Okay, so I have the my wire attached to the wire out there where the sensor's at. And to one lead, I got it on diode check, which will give you a beep if it's got continuity. So let's test it out. So it should be the green wire, which is right there. And we've got continuity. Make sure there's no continuity on any of the other ones with that. All right, so the wire from the sensor goes all the way up to here, to the gauge, which in the right pin, that's pin number 5, I believe. Or pin 6, I'm sorry. So yeah, that's the right one. So the wire, so the connection from the engine bay, from the sensor to the gauge is good. That wire is good and checks right. So we're good on that. So we need to dig into the gauge a little bit more, which I need to pull it out anyways because the gas gauge is stuck all the way up here. And I need to pull that needle off because when I was looking for the short that was on it, I've had to pull it off and I didn't get it in the right position. So that's gonna be the next thing we do is pull this off of here, which sucks because I really tightened the speedo cable down really well. So other than that, it's pretty easy to get out. But other than that, so I gotta remove this, and then just the pull lever on that, and then the speedo cable and the oil line, and we can pull that thing out with 6 screws. Well, I may have found the problem, but I'm not gonna say for sure. But make sure you hook your ground wires up. I have not done that yet. So that's what happens when you get in a rush to get things going. I mean, everything seemed to be working, but that ground wire could very well be a problem causing all this. So we get that hooked up. I'm gonna test the temperature gauge, see if it moves better with that hooked up, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I got it hooked back up and there's no change in those, so it's still doing the same thing. See, temp on, and the temp gauge ain't moving, doing anything. So back to the checking the circuit board. Okay, so I got the gauges out, and I did notice that when I pulled this off of the bezel, the needle for the temp was sitting on here, so it wasn't even where it was supposed to be. So I think that's a temp. Yeah, that's a temp. But yeah, so I moved this over. Hopefully it'll be closer now. We'll find out once we plug it in. The other thing I found is the wire that goes to that light was this brown wire right here that's plugged to the alternator. Why it's got 12 volts all the time, I don't know. I don't know if something inside the alternator is messed up, but with that unplugged, the 12 volts to that wire goes away. So that's one way to get rid of that light at least, but I gotta figure out why it's doing that. So the brown wire is supposed to be for the generator light if you don't have a amp meter, but we have an amp meter, so yeah, it's one of those weird things. Gotta figure it out though. So I'm not 100% sure what I did, but if you look right there, the temperature is rising. I put LED bulbs in for the backlighting for the lights too, so you actually see it. Plenty of oil pressure. The fuel gauge still isn't working, but it's down to empty now. And I scoped the tank, and it kind of looked like it was the float was sticking. But what I need to do is put some more gas in it and see what it does at that point, because it's still pretty low. I mean, I put maybe 2 or 3 gallons in it. but as you can see, the temperature is going up, which is cool. And what I did about that light, I don't know if it's really doing anything. I disconnected the brown wire, which is supposed to be switch 12 volt. I disconnected it from the alternator, but it's charging, so I'm not too worried about. See, it's at 14.4. If I shut it off, it's at 13. So yeah, I don't think that's doing anything. That's supposed to be a switch 12 volt. Why going directly to that light? I don't know, but that's where we're at now. The temperature's rising, so we have a temp gauge now, which is cool. And that was the main reason why I was tearing everything apart, because I wanted to see that temperature rise. So maybe it was just because the needle's disconnected. I don't know, but it's working now, so I'm happy. To wrap this video up, the main thing I wanted to do in this video was get the seat mounted and get the temp sensor working. And we have both of them going now. I still got to figure out the fuel gauge. I did test it with an aftermarket gauge, and the sender works. So it's something in the dash or something in there. And when I first got this truck, it had a short that was shorting out it was blowing a fuse basically. So it was shorting out those gauges. So I don't know if it shorted something out on that, which is causing the problem, or if I just got to go in there and adjust it and figure it out. But I'll do that on the next video. See what else. So there's a few other things we gotta definitely do. There's a transmission that I got that's filled. It's leaking. The pan's leaking, so I gotta replace the gasket on that. So that'll be on the next video. Just a bunch of little things I gotta button up on this, but I can drive it the way it is right now. I still gotta do brakes. I gotta get the front brakes still, and a couple other things. But other than that, it's getting so much closer to being able to drive it to where I can actually take it out and go to some events. So if you like this video, leave a like down there, leave me a comment, let me know what I can do better, and subscribe while you're at it. Why not? It's free. And for all those that are still here, I appreciate you watching this long. Until next time, I will see y'all later.